Hey guys, Rasheed Philips here, and today we're gonna make an amazing tri-tip. What makes this so much different than anything else? We're adding 2 additional ingredients to one, add texture and some heat. We're adding some cayenne along with your favorite coffee. I'm a huge coffee drinker, absolutely love it, but it also makes a great texture addition for your cooks. And that bitterness of the coffee will help play very well with balancing the heat from the cayenne, topped with your favorite beef rub, which in this case we're using the American Prime by Phillips Barbecue Co., of course. But let's get into this particular cook. It's very simple. We're gonna start with a very light trim. I personally don't like to remove all of the fat from my tri-tips. I'll get a fair amount of that silver skin because it just doesn't leave a great mouthfeel or chew. I like to leave some additional fat and let that sear, let that fat render down, and it just adds that extra depth of flavor.
So these are trimmed up to my liking. Still have some fat pockets in here that I know are gonna sear off and sizzle off just right. But you don't have to do 100% perfect trim. This isn't competition cooking. We're cooking for flavor. So we're gonna start with our binder. In this case, we're gonna use a Dijon mustard. You can use whatever type of mustard you want. You can use an oil. I would suggest to stay away from it. If you are gonna use an oil, use a high smoke temp oil, something like an avocado, but your local store will have a Dijon that you can use just fine. I'm just gonna massage that in. All right guys, we've got our tri-tip trimmed. We've added our binder to it. Now let's mix our ingredients. Medium-sized mixing bowl. About 2 to 3 tablespoons of Mexican oregano. 3 to 4 tablespoons of your favorite coffee. I picked one of my favorite Colombian coffees. Use whatever you like, even if it's Folgers. 3 tablespoons of salt. And this is our heat. We've got 1.5 tablespoons of the following: cayenne, Mexican chili, and dehydrated jalapeno. We're gonna add in about 1/4 cup of freshly crushed black pepper. Then whisk. Or in this case, fork. Don't be shy, season heavily. Making sure to get all the sides and edges. I oftentimes get asked, why do I keep a wet hand and a dry hand? Perfect example. Clean, dirty. Because if I were to put my wet hand in the mixer, it's gonna clump up on me and I won't be able to distribute it as easily as I can right now. Now our smoker is roaring at 500 degrees, which is fine because we're gonna throttle that back. Now, let's mop up. Get those edges all around. Another great little tip: lift the meat and sort of fold it onto itself, and you'll start to see that there's little sections that haven't really been seasoned up, which you don't see when it's collapsed and laying flat. So you can bend it over on itself and use that while mopping. Get all those extra little nooks and crannies. All right guys, we've finished seasoning up our tri-tip. Now it's time to insert our MEATER probe. Remember, you always want to insert into the thickest portion of your protein. So we have our probe inserted, but we also have 2 cuts of tri-tip here. So we're just going to use another probe. The great thing about the MEATER app is that it actually allows you to track multiple cooks at the exact same time. So you can actually get something like just a single off or a couple singles, or you can actually get the MEATER block, which comes with multiple probes. Think about it. Same rules still apply. We're gonna insert into the thickest portion of the meat, but we're also gonna make sure that we go past our safety notch. We need to make sure that it's inserted past this notch in order to get a proper reading. Perfect. Now that we have our probes inserted, we're ready to get our tri-tip onto the smoker. Now, because we're using 2 probes, we want to make sure we keep both of our charging blocks as close to the probes as possible. This makes sure that there's no interference from sending the information from the probe to our MEATER app. Plus, doubles as a bar blade. Now, you can enjoy a refreshing drink while you monitor the cook from your MEATER app. Select your protein. Tri-tip's going to be located on the roast. And the great thing is, the app itself will recommend the desired temperature. So we're going to leave it set at 135. Start cook, and we're off. Our cook is complete. We've been notified through our MEATER app that the cook is done. We've let it rest. Now we're gonna remove our probes, slice, serve, and enjoy. A little tip, when you're removing your probe, it's best to twist, then pull. Now, hopefully you remember earlier when I mentioned that the tri-tip has the muscle structure going in 2 different directions. We pointed it out before. We're going north to south and then east to west. So keep that in mind when you're slicing. It can be a little difficult to tell at times, but if you pay attention, you can still see which direction the grain is going. So first thing I'm gonna do is split this into 2 pieces. Look at that, perfect interior. Now that we have our tri-tip cut into 2 pieces, we can start cutting it against the grain. And I can see here that our grain is going north to south, so I'm cutting east to west. There we have it. Now a tri-tip will pair well with any type of sides. I personally like to char up some corn, some white onions, mix it all up, add a little bit of finishing salt, wrap it in a nice flour tortilla, and enjoy. For recipes like this and more, please make sure to head over to MEATER.com.